We don't dim, we don't shrink, we don't play small. Stand tall, stand proud, let them feel it all. Take up space, step into your power.
Welcome to Chat with 6ft4Goddess, the space where presence meets power and women are reminded that they were never meant to shrink, only to rise. I'm your host, Anna Shea, author and creator of the Goddess League. And today's conversation is for the women who have ever felt like they stood out and weren't quite sure how to own it. Because let's be real, whether it's your height, your energy, or your beauty, your ambition, all of that isn't easy, but it's powerful when it's achieved. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by a woman, one I know personally, who doesn't just design clothing, she designs confidence and originality. Avna Long is a fashion designer, entrepreneur, and visionary behind the Avna collection, known for creating bold statement pieces that celebrate femininity, artistry, and presence. From crocheting at just 9 years old, y'all, to showcasing her work on major stages like New York Fashion Week and having her designs worn by notable names, her brand is a true reflection of what happens when passion meets purpose. But beyond fashion, what I'm most excited to explore is how her work intersects with identity, confidence, and what it really means for a woman to own the space she walks into, especially those of us, like myself, who naturally stand out. So without further ado, let's give it up for our guest today, Avna Long. How you doing?
Hello. Hello, Anna Shay. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm so humble and grateful to have you on today.
Yes, I'm honored to be here and congratulations on the Goddess League.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's start here. I always wanted to ask you this because I'm like, did your mom know what she was doing, or did she know what she was doing, naming you Avna? Because I feel like you were just destined for great things. I mean, is this a name that she already had in her head, or how did it get to you?
It's a Hebrew name. Her and my dad, they decided on the name. The name means rock in Hebrew, but it also means precious stone. So it's kind of like a name that I felt like required me to be a little soft and a little hard at the same time, but more so on the hard side for a majority of my life. But now I'm just in the precious part of it and the softness of it. So I feel like the name kind of it was a perfect match for me because it's actually my journey through everything. So
That's a perfect segue into like my next question of just saying, did you see yourself, the woman that you are today? Did you see her standing before you all those years ago as a little girl?
no, absolutely not. I didn't see any of this. I think I really stepped out on faith because I'm self-taught and I really I started designing like sketching like when I was like 16. Even though I started crocheting at 9, I started sketching when I was like 16. And my sister-in-law, I guess I left my sketchbook at my sister-in-law's house because years later, like in my like 30s, she presented me the book. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this
Oh,
was when I was 16 years old. So I was already sketching a clothing line that
wow.
probably was just a moment of me going through something that I thought, okay, this would be cool, but I tossed it to the side. But she located it, had it for all these years and presented it to me. So
Wow.
I actually that yeah, so I guess it's just like little bits of um
Like crumbs and
yeah, they all just started to come together later in my life where I was just like, oh wow, like from the crocheting that started my first line, then from me sketching when I was 16, thinking of a clothing line that I was going to create, but never really created it cuz even on my it was called AD Fashions. That's what the name of
oh,
the my portfolio was that I was sketching, and I didn't think that it was even going to be a self name, like I was self name a brand, you know.
yeah.
But I felt like um I needed to name it Avna, and I felt like everything that the journey, everything that I've been through, and I poured into it, it just made sense for me to name it that and nothing else. So that's really how it just was created. That name alone has,
Powerful.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, that was it all ends up, being organically where it's supposed to be. And at the
Right.
end of the day, you were leaving yourself little nuggets just to say,
Yes.
hey, come back here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just tell you, you already had to figure it out. You just have to get to the journey. So
Right. Right.
beauty of life. That's the beauty of life.
Mm-hmm.
So in the fashion industry, I feel like, you've been around different facets of it. Your
Yeah.
latest and greatest accomplishment. Can you tell us about that, please?
You know what? I never really see a latest.
You don't? No,
Mm.
you feel like it's all encompassed in one accomplishment, maybe? Or
I feel like I'm always stretching myself.
Hmm,
So it's never like this is the moment. This is it. This is the pinnacle of it all. It's always I'm always doing something else with even things that surprise me. Like right now, I'm sewing for first responders and law enforcement and firefighters and honor guards and AMR, paramedics, EMTs. And that's something that I never even thought that I would be, doing. But I was reflecting on that a few days ago, actually. And I was just like, wow, I didn't think I would be in this space where I would be sewing for, first responders. But then when the pandemic had hit, I had to think about when the pandemic had hit, and I was sewing masks for the hospitals and the nurses and the people that was our first responders during the pandemic who needed masks and things like that. And it's just going back to the little nuggets. You don't know where a little moment is going to take you later, where you're going to have to you know
redirect, maybe.
yeah, it's just something. Like life is really something. Like you start something, you never think that later on it would become bigger in that area. So that is something that I had reflected on a few days ago.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I never really think, like, even with the clothing line, and then um with the books, becoming an author, um it's just different stages of growth. And I think that as long as you're growing through the journey, that's the most important part. I don't think that we should put a limit on, like, this is the ceiling, I've made it here. I just feel like God always has something else for us all.
great point. He's preparing
Yeah.
us for the next phase.
Yes, yes,
Never
absolutely.
you're never done,
You're
especially if
never done.
you're your purpose. You're living in your purpose.
Right.
You're never done.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, in your opinion, being in the fashion industry, do you
Hmm.
feel like they get a lot of things wrong when dressing tall women? Is there anything that you find that
Yeah.
they could do better?
Yes, I actually had I used to design for an Olympian named Kim Glass. She's very, very tall, and I used to always design long skirts because she could never find a skirt that was long enough on the red carpets or any of her events that she was attending, and that was like a a good pivot for me to start doing that. And people would come by the style house in LA and they would, purchase the long dresses, including her. And I feel like a it's not a market for it. There's a market for it, but it just hasn't been tapped into, and it makes it harder for taller women to source certain things, even pants, skirts, just even separates, different
Yeah,
pieces that they can kind of just piece together. And I always make collections with extremely long dresses, even the lace dress. I know you purchased the lace dress.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, the burgundy one.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, as designers, we should cater to every size, every height range. So, yeah, I definitely try to do my best with that.
Yeah, no, I think you do great. That's just me from my experience, but
Yes.
that was me wanting to hear your view. Um, See, there for me, there's a difference between being tall and actually like owning your space. How do
Right.
you design for like presence and not just body type?
Exactly. Exactly. And because height, I feel like height already makes a statement in itself. I feel like when I do design for taller women, I try to make it sleek, classy, really elegant. So
Bingo.
when they walk in the room, it's not just the height that grabs the attention, but it's the flow of the dress, it's the flow of the garment, it's the details in it. So I do design with purpose when I do design for height.
And that's the way it should be. I think too, because you don't have people just coming to you asking you for custom pieces, right? I mean, you do make pieces that are just, for everybody.
Usually I have them already. So when they
Yeah.
do come to me, they're like, do you have anything that's, longer? I have this event. And I'm able to send them, you know, photos of what I do have that are, long that would, match whatever their concept or vision is for their look. And most of the time it matches and I don't have to do anything custom, but I do have the, open door where I do accept custom pieces and, I'll say, yeah, I'll design this piece for you.
Okay.
But most of the time, I already have it. Most of
That's
the time.
awesome. That's what I'm like. That's rare, like very rare. I mean, you're constantly creating. That's what that
Yeah,
says
I
to me.
am.
You don't
Yeah,
sleep. You just like, oh, girl, I got to get out of my head right now because it's
exactly.
here. That's a lot
Yes.
of work.
Mhm.
You don't stop and sleep. So my next curiosity is, I don't even know how to word this because it just came to me, but have you ever had people come to you and it's like their personality don't match what they're asking for, and you're like, maybe I should help her know how to rock it so she's not like looking meek on the red carpet or at her event or wherever she's going. Have you ever had
Yeah.
people like that didn't match?
Yes, I have. Or they'll see a design that I've made and they'll say, I want this one. And I'll say, well, I can do a this design for you, but for your body type, you may need a peplum added to this, just because a lot of people will see a design and think that they can automatically wear it.
Mhm.
But it also depends on body type as well because you want it to complement you the best way. So like all like A-line dresses aren't going to work for everybody. All bodycon dresses don't work for everyone. So you may need like some extra fabric that may drape in a certain area. So I always try to design for the body type because that's important because as a designer, we're not designing at just like off the rack clothes that you can just go into a store. We're really designing for, the body, the silhouette, what what um what moves when you walk into the room, so you're creating a visual, you're creating like a dream for your customers. That's
Yeah,
basically what you're doing.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are. It's
yeah,
like you're creating that fantasy that came alive.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good way of putting it. Because I feel like, especially for me, when I think of um doing like a runway show or just going into rooms where women aren't necessarily as tall as me. Tall women are often told, we're too much, too tall, too noticeable. And you get kind of like, I won't say tired, but your feeling of wanting to pursue that might get dwindled down because you're hearing that so much. So have you ever had someone that wanted to wear your designs on a runway in particular that you couldn't make work because they were too tall? Has that ever happened?
No, I always make it work.
Yeah.
Whether if that's if I have a design that's already initially made, and sometimes for New York, it's hard for me to do a lot of fittings before New York Fashion Week. So I'll do a couple, and, by the time I get there, it might be a change that needs to be made. So I'll always bring extra fabric. I'll always bring my sewing machine to make sure that I can lengthen anything or add anything to make the silhouette better, or allow them to walk easily down the runway. I've even had to do alterations on tall models on set, on the before they go out to the runway, because I want to make sure that they don't trip over, the fabric or their feet. Make sure that the splits are in the right place. They have leg room to walk. It's a lot of things that come with designing for tall models. So I always just try to make sure that their runway experience is going to be good for them, not only for to sell, but to present. So the people that are watching, they're able to say, oh, okay, a tall person can wear this, and their legs are moving really, really, freely. They're not getting caught up in anything. And, so I take in all of that when I'm making and designing a collection. And I feel like it's important too, because all body shapes are not the same. All heights are different. People wear things different. What may flow for me may not flow on someone else. It may just be, a little stiff on someone else
Mhm.
because of the way that it's designed, or where the split lies, or where it lands. And so it's a lot of things to consider.
I know. Again, I've seen you in
Hmm.
action, and I think that's what makes you so cool. Because something I always say is that height is just the physical, but
Right.
presence is the decision. Like, and what I love about what you do is that your designs don't just dress the body. I feel like they amplify the woman. Like, I feel like you're
Exactly.
just saying, "Hey, hey, look at me," and they don't have a choice but to say, "This is
Right.
something I'm wearing. I gotta fit that role."
Yes.
So thank you for what you do, because it really helps to make all of us women feel like we deserve to be here and
Yeah.
that this is our moment and to enjoy that moment. And do you ever have to give pep talks like the people that, like I said, they wore it, come in and they wear it and you're like, this don't fit you? Is that something you do too? Because
Oh yeah,
before you answer that,
I
sorry.
do that all the time.
Yeah.
Even with some of my models, when we're doing even the practices, having a run through, they'll be like, oh my gosh, they'll see the design at first, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, like I hope I can carry this, and I'm like, oh, like this is gonna fit you perfectly. Wherever you have an insecurity, we can fix that. So I always just try to have everything um on set, including my pep talks, to give the models, and just let them know, like, hey, I understand, because I want them to know that I understand their insecurities as well, or any concerns that they have. I want them to know that I understand, and whatever it is, we can fix it, we can tweak it, we can adjust it, and yeah, just have fun with it, because it's fashion, it's self-expression, um and it should be fun.
It should be. It should be. And that kind of leads me to my next question. Do you feel like your journey as a designer requires you to become more confident in your own presence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because I struggled with what did they call it? Can't think of the name of it yet. But I struggled a lot as far as the type of designer that I was in the beginning,
Oh,
because I'm not the traditional ready to wear designer. I'm always designing on another level, adding a lot of details, 3D elements, structures. And I feel like in the beginning I wasn't, they were like, what is she doing? What's going on? I feel like now everyone's done caught on, because I think I was ahead of my time before everything now, with the avant-garde, the couture, the aesthetics of different, adding different elements to different designs, making it a wow factor on red carpets, the runways, out in public, period. I
mm,
think in the beginning it was just like, Like, what is she doing? I had people saying, "Oh, you might want to just tone it down and just go to, ready to wear." But every time I would design ready to wear, it was just so boring to me. I was just like, this is just so boring. Like, I even tried to do like simple blazers, and it just wasn't working. And I think you bought one of the blazers that it had the ruffle. Like I was like, I can't do anything simple.
I
Like,
can't.
and everybody kept saying, you need to tone it down, but I couldn't. Even with the blazer, I still wanted to add my elements to it. And I just feel like early on, I was already just stepping in a different lane. But
Yeah.
then I learned to stay true to my lane, and just to stay focused on that lane, trust the lane that I was in. And by doing that, it created a lane of my own in a way.
Mhm.
And that's where I started getting a lot of attention, because I wasn't swaying, even though people were saying, "Oh, you don't need to do this," or the yarn isn't considered fashion. Or I had so many people telling me so many different things, and
Mm.
now you see crochet on a runway, you see crochet in all of these stores, you see all of these elements to designs now that are being welcomed.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think it's staying true to yourself and staying in your lane and creating that lane, no matter what anyone thinks, is a struggle, but also rewarding in the end.
Yeah, it is. And that kind of goes hand in hand with why I created the Goddess League too, just because I feel like,
Yes.
people's perception of us, a lot
Yeah.
of people run with that narrative. And what I mean by that is like, we might be aggressive or mean or, we feel like we are without using any bad words, we the bomb. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
like
Right.
that perception can come on us and be like, but wait, I gotta always defend that. I don't, so it's like you
Mhm.
kind of gotta I won't say flip the script because that's not it. It's really just about how you perceive yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Getting to
Right.
that point, you have to learn who you are and
Yes.
stay there, But
Exactly.
that's the hard part is you're getting all of this stuff coming in at you about stuff, people's voices,
Mhm.
people's reaction to you, and you having to remember, okay, who am I? Let me stay grounded. So I love what you just said because that really does kind of go hand in hand with, what I like to uh practice and preach to anybody that will listen. You really got to stay and you got to know who you are, period.
Exactly. Exactly.
And don't sway at all because
That's
people get
right.
confused, So you have
Yep.
to let them know, don't get confused, boo. I'm going to be like this no matter what. And they'll
Exactly.
always come back to you because they'll say, I remember you because of what you said. And now you're
Absolutely.
doing great. So, in part two, Avna and I talk about confidence, insecurities, owning your own presence, what makes a true goddess, and how women can learn to trust themselves without needing validation from anyone else. I'll see you all in part two. Welcome to the Goddess League. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss it.